Can you hear me, Chris?
Yes, sir.
We hear
Chuck,
you in
okay,
the
thanks.
commission and council room. What?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Chris? Call the roll.
Yep.
Mr. Chris Ratty, can you hear me okay?
Yes, Don. Good to go.
Okay, thank you.
I almost don't recognize you, Don, without your mask on.
Right? Or garden clothes.
Yeah.
Steve, did you have to tell my brother to quiet the other night when he had that big party in his backyard?
It wasn't that big, and he's a good neighbor.
Oh, good.
It did look like, warm and welcoming though. The weather, we've been having some nice weather.
Excellent.
Even the rain that we get last night was welcome and nice. So I'm not going to complain about this fall.
Nope. Well, I was just wondering if he was a good neighbor or not, so sounds like it.
No, I appreciate them. The kids are getting older, so they're not flying around in the air on trampolines anymore. I kind of miss that aspect of kids.
All right. Good evening, folks. It is 5:30 p.m., Monday, October 12th, 2020, and this is the Moorhead City Council meeting. So with that, Madam Clerk, can we please get a roll call?
Shelly Dahlquist. Sarah Watson Curry. Shelley Carlson.
Are we having issues with the muting? Because I know they're present, we just can't hear them. Okay. For those at home, we're just having a technology issue. We just need just a moment here to rectify that. Thank you for your patience.
Shelly Dahlquist,
Here.
Sarah Watson Curry, Shelley Carlson,
Councilmember White is having some issues with being able to unmute.
Okay, I was having the same problems, Mayor Judd, so I just got it, that I can unmute myself, so I'm here.
Okay, not a problem. Thank you.
Heidi Durand, Deb White,
Here.
Larry Seljevold,
Here.
Chuck Hendrickson,
Here.
Steve Lindos,
Here.
and in council, I've got City Attorney John Shockley, Acting City Manager Dan Mahli, and Mayor Johnathan Judd.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We can all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I am Mayor Johnathan Judd. The Moorhead City Council is holding its regularly scheduled meeting using virtual meeting technology under an emergency declaration due to COVID-19. I am in the City Council chambers with the City Manager, City Attorney, City Clerk, and a few other staff members. Council members are attending remotely. Any public comment received prior to this meeting will be read as a part of the record during the applicable agenda item. The public may participate during the meeting by calling 218-299-5001. Public input will be taken by a staff member and provided to me to read during the meeting. Or you may request that your call be bridged to the virtual WebEx meeting and speak directly during our public hearings or citizens addressing the council agenda item. The public comment line again is 218-299-5001. If no answer, please leave your message or your callback number, and staff will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay. Item number 3, agenda amendments. Are there any amendments to tonight's agenda? Acting City Manager, Madam City Clerk.
There are none, Mayor.
Then item number 4, consent agenda. Are there any items that will be pulled off consent this evening?
None have been requested, Mayor.
Are we looking, I just want to make sure, because I think there was some discussion. Okay. Okay, so just for those at home, 15B will be removed from consent agenda this evening due to the fact that we need 7 out of 8 council members to vote affirmatively. We are now currently sitting with 6, so we're unable to do so. So, Mr. City Attorney, do we need a motion to remove that from the consent, or is just postponing it or tabling that?
We should remove it from consent, and then when we, I think as part of the motion for the consent agenda, we can include within
Okay. Okay. So for anyone that wishes to make a motion to approve the consent agenda, please do so if you agree to table
15B.
15B to the next meeting.
So Councilmember Lundas moves to approve the consent agenda tabling item 15B next meeting, October 26th.
Dahlquist, second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Madam City Clerk?
Dahlquist,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Seldgevold,
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Lindas.
Yes.
Motion's approved. Move on to item number 5, recognitions, presentations. 5A is a proclamation regarding Indigenous Peoples' Day 2020. Happy Indigenous Peoples' Day to all in the city of Moorhead and throughout the region. I'm not sure if we have anyone here tonight from Human Rights Commission. I do know that the chair and vice chair are currently at other events.
They're participating in an event this evening.
Correct. So I'll go ahead and read the official proclamation from the city of Moorhead. Whereas the city of Moorhead honors Native American peoples and commemorates Indigenous Peoples' Day on the second Monday in October as a city holiday. And whereas the council of the city of Moorhead recognizes and values the vast contributions made to our community through Indigenous peoples' knowledge, science, philosophy, arts, and culture. And whereas the city of Moorhead fosters inclusivity, racial equity, and justice for all people and opposes systemic practices that perpetuate the oppression of Indigenous peoples. And whereas the city of Moorhead recognizes its shared responsibility to honor our nation's Indigenous roots, history, traditions, and cultural contributions. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Moorhead, Minnesota, formally recognizes the foundational and cultural contributions of Indigenous peoples to the history of our communities and does hereby reaffirm Monday, October 12th, 2020 as Indigenous Peoples' Day. And so I have signed the proclamation prior to the meeting. Also want to send a special shout out to our Human Rights Commission for bringing us forward last year to recognize it as a city holiday. And also just to give a heads up to the council that currently this evening, Fargo, as it switches every other year, is currently hosting virtual events for Indigenous Peoples' Day. It will be our turn next year to host, hopefully not in a virtual environment, but we'll have to see how things go. But there will be, the Human Rights Commission will be reaching out to us for resources in order to support this effort. So again, thank you to the Human Rights Commission for their involvement in this. Then we move on to item 6, approval of the minutes. 6A, approval of the September 24th, 2020 meeting minutes. Are there any additions, modifications that need to be made to the minutes as they were received in your packet? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
Deb White, so moved.
Steve Lindahl, second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam City Clerk.
Dahlquist, Dahlquist, Carlson,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Seldgevold,
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Lindas.
Yes.
Motion passes. We move on to item number 7, citizens addressing the council. Acting City Manager Mahli, Madam City Clerk Rust, any,
There's no one on the line, Mayor.
none?
None.
Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on then to item, well, we have 4 minutes. Item number 9 would be a public hearing to consider adoption for special assessments for public improvements for various construction projects. But we are at 5:41 PM, so we have 4 minutes. And the next agenda item would be item number 16, which may take, should we move forward with item number 16? Yeah. Okay, so we will come back and we'll go to item number 16, which is a resolution request from the Moorhead Public Housing Authority to transfer property to Moorhead Affordable Housing LLC. I will pass it over to Acting City Manager Dan Mahli.
Thank you, Mayor. So under Don Bacon's leadership and the board at the Moorhead Housing Authority, things are really moving. Tonight, you're asked to consider support of moving about 30 public housing units to a different affordable, Don will be able to explain this, but disposing of the properties under an LLC called Moorhead Public Housing in order to access some new program funds with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. So I was part of some Moorhead Housing Authority Board meetings as this process went through. This has been underway for quite some time, and this is kind of the pinnacle of it here, this letter of support in order to make it happen. So with that, I'll turn it over to Don to kind of outline the request, and thank you, Don.
Well, good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Thank you, Mr. Mahli. My name is Don Bacon. I'm the Executive Director with Moorhead Public Housing Agency. And a quick background on our agency, we contract with the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And in addition to tenant rents, we receive federal dollars to administer the public housing program, which serves low-income households. We have 2 apartment buildings as well as 30 scattered site units in the city of Moorhead. Our scattered site units consist of single-family homes, townhomes, and duplexes. And the request we're bringing to council today has to do specifically with those scattered site units. The public housing program has had some real challenges in funding, and that funding has become increasingly unpredictable and is really not keeping pace with cost. The challenges with the public housing program are even more pronounced for scattered site units because they have some inherent features that make them more expensive to operate. But these properties, these scattered site properties, are central to our mission. They provide stable, affordable housing to larger households with children, many of whom have transitioned out of homelessness. So one of the main priorities in our strategic plan has been to analyze some different options available to us with regulatory options under HUD in order to achieve long-term sustainability for the agency and also continue to achieve our mission. So what I'm asking today is for council support in our application to HUD to remove these 30 units from the public housing program so that we can transfer the housing subsidy to the Housing Choice Voucher Program. That's also known as the Section 8 program. If approved by HUD, Clay County Housing and Redevelopment Authority would administer the voucher subsidy, and Moorhead Public Housing Agency would continue to function as the landlord by operating the property through an LLC. For Moorhead Public Housing, this would include a significant reduction in administrative responsibilities and a substantial increase in funding, which would provide us with dollars to reinvest into those properties and keep them in good condition. In addition to all of that, this change would also provide our agency with 5 years of transition funding that we would be able to reinvest into our current or remaining public housing units. And we do have some substantial capital needs improvements that we currently do not have a budget for. We have had extensive communication with residents impacted by this change, and we've received positive feedback. Their housing will continue to be affordable. No resident will be required to move as a result of this change. And as many of you are aware, our agency has a very strong partnership with Clay County Housing and Redevelopment Authority. And that will make a really big difference in our ability to continue to serve residents well, both throughout this transition and well into the future. So to sum it up, the public housing program has some funding uncertainties. We have a high level of regulatory constraints and capital needs backlogs. And unlike other housing authorities, we do not have the ability to impose a local levy to fill funding gaps. And we've even had to, go to many outside resources to pay for things like elevator renovations. So the big question we've been grappling with is how do we stabilize the financial position of the agency for the long term while keeping people in their homes and meeting our mission. And after reviewing options over the last 18 months, we really believe that this plan will help us achieve those goals.
Thank you, Ms. Bacon, for your work in keeping our housing authority healthy, and thank you for your collaborative efforts with the accounting as well. It's greatly appreciated. I think looking innovatively about how we do this work in the long term is a great thing. I'm going to open it up to council. Does anyone have any questions, thoughts, or comments from Ms. Bacon? I do see Councilmember Dahlquist. Your hand is up.
I just want to thank Dawn for all the work she's done. She's been amazing as the head of Moorhead Public Housing, and I can see no reason why we would not go forward with this. So thank you, Dawn, for all of your work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Dahlquist. Any other council members have any questions or comments? Councilmember Lindas. Oh, here we go.
I was just going to say, I move that we approve the resolution requesting the Moorhead Public Housing Authority to transfer property to the Moorhead Affordable Housing LLC.
I'll second that, Board.
Madam City Clerk, looks like Councilmember White, I think. Yep. Okay. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, City Clerk, Madam City Clerk.
Dahlquist,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Seldgevold,
Aye.
Lindas,
Yes.
Hendrickson.
Aye.
Motion passes. Again, thank you, Ms. Bacon, for all of your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, then we'll go back up. It's 5:49, so we can go back up to item number 9 for those at home, a public hearing to consider adoption for special assessments for public improvements for various construction projects. Is there a motion to take us into public hearing?
Hendrickson, so moved.
Dahlquist, second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any comments? Hearing none. Madam City Clerk?
Dahlquist,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Seldgevold,
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Lindas.
Yes.
Motion passes. We are now in public hearing. Mr. Trowbridge?
Okay, so tonight's hearing is the final step for the council to take on various construction projects that have been built over the last 2 years. There's 15 projects all total that are part of this. Out of that, about 9 of them are tied directly to either new development or redevelopment and were petitioned for by the benefiting property owners. And 2 of them were repair type projects that were also petitioned by the benefiting property owners. And then 4 of them were our street capital improvement program projects, which typically we never have petitions for those, and those are initiated by council action. And for anyone that wasn't petitioned, we always had to hold a public hearing for it. So this would be the second time that they would have actually been presented this basic information. Out of these projects, we had 678 parcels that were assessed. Some of these are, I'm sure, were in overlapping areas, so there were probably less than 678 properties, but there were 678 total assessments. Since the notices were mailed out, we had received 9 phone calls and 3 emails with questions. And since the council agenda was prepared, we have not received any more comments or questions on it. And that includes that we have not received any formal written objection. So, as was explained in the notice that was sent out, property owners would have up until November 13th to pay off the specials, and then they would not have any interest that would be applied to that. And then if they choose to let it go, then it would get certified to the county, and it would become payable on the tax with the property taxes the following year. And it's the different types of projects have different payment periods. So the smaller assessments that come with a sidewalk project, for example, are spread over 10 years, whereas the larger assessments with a new development, those are spread by policy over a period of 25 years. And all of that information was provided in the notice that was mailed to the property owners.
Thank you, Mr. Trowbridge, for that information. Does that bring about any questions or comments from council? And then what I will turn to Madam City Clerk or Acting City Manager Mahli. Have we had anybody call in or through WebEx that wish to be heard regarding the item in this public hearing?
We have not, Mayor.
And I'll just ask, just because it's protocol, one more time, if we've had anyone call, email, or is currently sitting on WebEx that wish to be heard regarding this matter in this public hearing. Head nods or no. So, council, I see no hands. Thank you, Mr. Trowbridge. Is there a motion to take us out of public hearing?
Wait, second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Madam City Clerk?
Dahlquist,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Seljavold,
Aye.
White,
Yes.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Lindos.
Yes.
Motion passes. We are out of public hearing. Is there a motion to approve the resolution for adoption and special assessments for public improvements for various construction projects, 9A?
So moved, Deb White.
Second, Seljavold.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Madam City Clerk?
Carlson,
Yes.
Dahlquist,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Lindos,
Yes.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Seljavold.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, folks. We'll move on to item number 17, which is a resolution to approve art for I-94 Water Tower. Acting City Manager Mahli, is this you or?
Ms. Bodie is on the line, and Ms. Churchill as well, our artist. So I'll turn it over to you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll introduce it. So thank you very much. And special thanks to council members Duran, Hendrickson, and Seljavold, who served on the Water Tower Art Committee, along with representatives of Moorhead Public Service and city staff. The art design that is in your packet on page 195 is a design that has gone through the Art and Culture Review, Moorhead Public Service approval, It's on time according to the schedule that Moorhead Public Service needs it for billing documents this fall for construction in 2021. It's under budget, and more than 300 participants, community members, have participated, given feedback in some fashion on the project. So, and most important, it's beautiful and it represents Moorhead in a great way to the traveling public. So with that information, perhaps I'll ask Michelle Churchill if she would tell us a little bit about the design and the inspiration for the project. Michelle, are you with us?
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. So just a little background on this design. We wanted it to be simpler than the other existing towers due to the location. We wanted it to be simple and bold, so as you drive by, the drivers wouldn't be distracted. This wrap you see is a 360 wrap all the way around. You will see Moorhead on both sides of the traffic. Just a little bit of background, we really wanted to get the public involved as much as possible, but had to change our plans a little bit due to the pandemic. We were still able to get the community involved by creating a Facebook page, hanging posters around town, and also had a couple of surveys, as Lisa had already mentioned. After collecting the feedback, we found that several people had taken a lot of pride in Moorhead's trails, the river, and also the state. That's when we decided to narrow down our focus, being those three main things. The trees we picked are all native to Minnesota, and if you notice, one specifically is the crazy tree. It's located close to Concordia College, and we thought that that would be a fun addition to add this specific tree to make the tower feel like home. And yeah, that's a little bit about the project, and I'm really excited about how it went, and I'm thankful for this opportunity. So if anyone has any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Churchill, for your work. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Churchill, Ms. Bodie? Okay, seeing no hands. Is there a motion to approve?
Hendrickson, so approved.
Second, Lindas.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam City Clerk?
Dahlquist,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Seljevold, Hendrickson,
Aye.
Lindas.
Yes.
Motion's approved. Thank you, folks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. So that moves us to item number 18, resolution to create a work group to develop a plan for city sustainability and resilience. And this is Acting City Manager Mahli.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So this is a follow-up to a motion by Councilmember Lindas a couple of weeks ago to develop a plan with staff and community partners that addresses city sustainability and resilience. As a participant of the Minnesota Green Step Cities program, we're advancing any number of activities currently. This proposal, this recommendation to direct me, the acting city manager, to help pull this group together and pull a plan together will help provide a pathway to see some real tangible goals and report back in regards to energy efficiency, renewables, innovation, all the work that we are working to address to ensure that we're a sustainable community here in Moorhead. So the recommendation is to proceed with that recommendation. Well, the recommendation to direct the acting city manager to do so.
Okay. Right, does that bring about any comments from council? I know this came up later in the agenda. So does anyone wish to be heard on this matter? And thank you, Acting City Manager Mahli, for putting this together in short order. So, Councilmember Hendrickson, I see your hand is up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick question. I think it's a good group, but what's the makeup of it? You said city staff. Is there council members on there? I just kind of agree.
So right now, I'm thinking that we would direct, the first step is to direct the acting city manager to do so, and then I would come back with a proposal whereby we'd vote and we can pull that, the city council can pull that work group together and start.
Okay, so this is just an initiative to direct you to start it. I just want to clarify it, for the public who's listening. So this is telling you, Dan, to go and get this thing rolling.
Yeah, put a proposal together and return, yes.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, does that bring about any other questions or comments from council? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
This is Councilmember Lindos. I will move approval of the motion.
Dahlquist, second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam City Clerk.
Dahlquist,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Seljevold,
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Lindos.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you, folks. We'll move on to item number 19 on the agenda, mayor and council reports. Any council member wish to provide any updates or reports from any committees or meetings or things in the community they wish to celebrate or acknowledge? Okay, I see no hands. Oh, no. Councilmember Lindos, your hand is up.
Well, I was just going to say, reinforce the proclamation today that it's Indigenous Peoples Day. And I guess one of the queries I have for us is, can we find a way to make it so we don't meet on this day so we can participate in these activities with the residents and other people?
I would say yes. I think that was the intent last year when we had the the resolution come before us. Obviously, the ball got dropped, but I think what I would say is next year, we should make a record that when this comes up again, that we move the meeting to a Tuesday. And again, I think if council is in agreement with that, I guess I shouldn't overstep any bounds, but that was the intent for it when it came up last year. So thank you for bringing that up, Councilmember Lindos. Councilmember White, I see your hand is up.
I also just wanted to chime in that I think that would be great, and I'm looking forward to next year when we're hosting Indigenous Peoples Day in our community. And also wanted to thank the folks who did the work to plan this year's event. And I wanted to mention too that there's a open meeting tomorrow. The Resilient Moorhead Task Force is having one on resilience and economic development, and our own Derek LaPointe will be speaking at that, and that's at 12 o'clock tomorrow. It's a virtual meeting. If anyone's interested, they can go to the Resilient Moorhead Facebook page, and I think it's listed there as an event.
Thank you, Councilmember White, for that update. And are there any other council members that wish to be heard regarding any updates for the good of the order? Right, seeing no hands, I'll just be brief in my comments. Look at my calendar, back on The first, I believe, had the opportunity to meet the new commander of the Mississippi Valley Division of the U.S. Corps of Army Engineers, the Commander Major General Diana Holland, who came and took a tour of the diversion project and saw the southern embankment. Also had a chance to meet her at an opportunity during the diversion meeting. So it was good to see the person who's going to be generally leading the effort to get the project moving forward. Also had a meeting with a group of mayors, the Minnesota Mayors Together, with Governor Walz to talk about hopefully the potential for a bonding bill, fingers crossed, as we have some pretty big projects at stake in the bonding bill. So I want to send a special thanks to Lisa Bodie for keeping us appraised of those efforts, and also for her expertise and knowledge in telling the Moorhead story to keep those projects hopefully moving forward. Also, the only other two things of note is also I will be joining the board of the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities. So hopefully providing a voice again for Moorhead. I know that former Mayor Delray Williams was also a part of that board, so I think that'll be really essential to get Moorhead's story and what we do and what affects us as a border city. Again, a voice in St. Paul. So thank you to also Lisa Bodie for facilitating that as well. Thank you, Councilmember White. So with that, I think that's all that I have, other than the fact that the Minnesota Mayors Together Executive Committee will be meeting tomorrow. The topics will be broadband in Greater Minnesota, and also how to advocate more for our restaurants and hotels in our hospitality industry, because they're going to need our help coming up here in the cold weather months. So other than that, I'll pass it over to Acting City Manager Dan Mahli.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate your mentioning the Minnesota legislature being in session this week. This is exciting news for Moorhead as we anticipate some, potentially some big movement around our 11th Street project and the transfer station, in addition to any number of other matters. So just want to be sure that we let you know, council and public, that we'll be putting information out and communicating what's happening there. So that will be happening. I thank you, Councilmember White, for mentioning the Resilient Moorhead presentation tomorrow. That I had a preview on that the other day. That is really neat stuff. If you're not able to attend, I think I may grab the PowerPoint and just shoot that out to everybody. So it's good of everybody to be working on that. And with that, I just wanted to mention that we really do have some great development happening in Moorhead, and I want to give staff and our development partners in this community a little credit tonight. We're seeing clear signs of steady and accelerating growth during a very challenging time. Just statistically, we're single-family residential permitted in 2020. We have 187 single-family homes permitted. Last year at this time, we were at 190. So you could imagine what these numbers look like in March, April, May, June, and so we're catching up quickly and expect to surpass last year's numbers when it comes to single-family rooftops. In addition, we're seeing exciting growth around downtown, exciting projects on First Avenue North, Center Avenue, Main Avenue, and the like. Our 505 housing goal, which was adopted in 2018, now sits at 254 units that are constructed, under constructed, or in the process of getting a permit in downtown Moorhead. 93 of those units have been permitted in 2020 so far. Last year at this time, we were sitting at about 70. So we expect, I'm always kind of hopelessly hopeful, optimistic, but I anticipate we're gonna beat our 500 in 5 goal, and look forward to doing that. The sooner the better. Also, commercial building. So we have our new commercial building value permitted in 2020 is higher than the values of 2018 and 2019 combined. So commercial building is on the rise. The same holds true for residential and commercial remodeling permits. So during this time, development is clipping right along. I think this will be great information to push out. So one of the reasons I do this is to just bring your attention to a pretty big project that is going to be on the agenda, City Council agenda hearing in 2 weeks on the 20th. So this is the project on I-94 and 8th Street South. The developer has requested approval of a tax increment financing district, which is a partnership between the city and the developer for a mixed-use project that will include 127 multifamily units, which include affordable units, and new commercial development on the pads at the site. So it's anticipated the investments will be over $30 million. The Economic Development Authority and the Planning Commission have both seen the and approved, recommended approval of the plan, and the Moorhead Public Schools and Clay County have been notified. So I wanted to raise that as you may be getting questions before the next meeting. If you need any information or have questions, please do reach out. But that project will also be before you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mahli. Can I bug you for one more thing? Can you talk a little bit briefly? I wanted to send a shout out, but I forgot, and it's your time now. I had to pass mine up to Derek LaPointe, because he gave a chamber presentation about the lowdown about the downtowns, and you thought was really, really well received. Just briefly, if you could just touch a little bit of base about kind of what the presentation was about and how well he did, because apparently he said he did excellent.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was great to watch. So I think it was Thursday that the Chamber of Commerce does the Eggs and Issues, and so there was a feature on the downtown. So Derek was there with Melissa from the Downtown Community Partnership in Fargo and Tim from West Fargo, and there's a lot of really exciting things happening metro-wide. What was really neat about the way Derek told his story, great before and afters, and there was just a tremendous amount of momentum that was demonstrated there. And so in addition, the Derek show continues, and so he was, I think, presenting with Christy at a Minnesota planning conference or APA conference. I mean, some sort of planning conference today, where they had another 100 or so people on board. It's pretty exciting stuff there. And then tomorrow, the Resilient Moorhead presentation. I understand we have upwards of close to 50 people already registered for that. So, communicating and pushing this information out and let people know what's happening here is really important. So we appreciate his work in that.
Great. Thank you. And the only thing I will mention, and I apologize, I forgot to mention this earlier, a congratulations and a welcome to Travis Schmidt, the new general manager from Moorhead Public Service. A great article in the paper in the Fargo Forum on October 9th. So be sure to go back and check that out. And again, just a special welcome and congrats to Travis Schmidt. So then, if there are no other updates or reports, then we'll move to item number 21 on the agenda, which is an executive session, 21A. Closed executive session pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.05 subdivision 3, parent 3, for the purpose of developing offers or counter offers for the sale of real property described as a portion of lots 13 through 29, Block 1, White's 2nd Edition in the city of Moorhead. Is there a motion to take us into executive session?
So moved, Deb White.
Second, Seldoville.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Madam City Clerk.
Dahlquist,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Seljevold,
Aye.
Hendrickson,
Aye.
Lindos.
Yes.
Motion passes. We are now in executive session. think we'll go back into regular session. It's 6:43 PM. Acting City Manager Mahli, agenda item number 22. Is there any new business that is coming before the council this evening?
There is no new business this evening, Mayor.
And then, hearing none, item number 23 on the agenda. Are there any citizens that wish to address the council that we have received since the prior agenda item? Okay. Hearing, seeing none, I guess we'll adjourn the meeting, and it is 6:44 PM. All right. Good night, Moorhead.